Today, we're speaking with rahzslaughter. Rahz is a dynamic motivational speaker with 24 years of experience helping parents and teens transform their mindsets and take control of their lives. He is the co author of a best selling book, Student Success Secrets: Unlock the 7 Secrets for Developing Inspired, Motivated, Success-Driven Teens. You can reach Rahz on Instagram at rahzslaughter. His website is unstoppableteenager.com. Want to learn how to get along better with your teenager? Listen in.
Boil water at a certain temperature, it'll eventually start to bubble because we have belief systems. But just as the same as we have those beliefs, we can change the ones that are disempowering, the ones that say that I'm not enough.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa.
Well, hello. We have with us today rahzslaughter. Welcome to Earrings Off.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Pleasure to meet you both.
Nice to meet you. We're excited you're here. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us. Okay, so your journey from a 1.62 GPA to a successful entrepreneur is inspiring. So can you share a pivotal moment that fuels your transformation?
Absolutely. I can think about when I think about that GPA, it really wasn't about my ability. It was just the facts that, there were some things that were going on in the educational system that didn't really facilitate my growth in school. And I met a gentleman when I was about 17 years old at a diner, and he gave me a book called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And I hadn't read a book up until that point. And the reason I didn't is that I struggled with reading. I mispronunciated words. And so I skipped those words. And in all through middle school and grammar in middle school and high school, no one actually taught me that I needed to learn how to sound those words out. And that's why my reading comprehension was so low. And I learned and developed how to take notes. But this book instilled a new belief in me and instilled the belief that it didn't matter where I was or what my struggles were. If I changed how I thought, I could change the results that I achieved. And by doing that, I took that GPA, got out of high school, started my own business, and the rest is really history. I got addicted to self-education as opposed to traditional education.
Talk a little bit about the BAS method for creating a powerful mindset. How can parents and teens implement this in their lives?
Absolutely. So I came up with the BAS method, which is beliefs, attitude, and self-talk when COVID happened. And I had been using it my entire life, really, but I wanted to put it into a framework that parents and teens could understand. And it starts with breaking down our belief systems. Where did our belief systems come from? Why do we believe this? Why do we believe in gravity? Why do we believe in our spirituality? Why do we believe that if we boil water at a certain temperature, it'll eventually start to bubble? Because we have belief systems. But just as the same as we have those beliefs, we can change the ones that are disempowering, the ones that say that I'm not enough. I am not as good as this person. My skin isn't as clear as this person, or whatever self-limiting belief we have, we can change it by reframing that conversation that we're having with ourselves. By reframing those beliefs, then a parent can help instill a new attitude into their teen. But remember, if we want our teens and our children to do as we do, we have to lead a life that's as we say we want them to. So that's our attitude as well. And then that final part to the BAS system is self-talk. What are we saying to ourselves over and over again, like a record player programming those thoughts? I'm not enough. I'm not tall enough. I have a disability. Someone told me that I was ADHD, ADD, ABC, whatever letter that they want to label you. And if we're parents out there that are listening, if you want to start to change and empower your children, it starts with changing their beliefs, but asking where yours come from, changing your attitude, having an attitude of positivity and gratitude, and then really dissecting our self-talk. What are you saying about your parenting style? What are you saying about your life, your significant other, everything? Because your kids are watching what you do, not just what you say they should do.
Mm-hmm. No,
You know what I'm thinking? That this method would be awesome to give to people before they become parents, so that once they start parenting, there's nothing to fix, right? And the kids have a better chance of being positive and not
Absolutely.
having that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So your story involves overcoming labels and challenges. So talk to us a little bit about how being bullied shaped your perspective, and talk to us about the 3 C's: clarity, communication, confidence, to end bullying in schools, because we all know that that is so important. It's an issue that school districts across the country struggle with, and it's an important issue. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure, Lou. That's a great question. And, when you're thinking about bullying, and one of the things that when I'm working with parents or teens or schools or I'm speaking across the country, I like to define what bullying is and isn't. And it's different for us all. So I don't have a clear definition, but I can tell you that the definition that we can look up is that something that consistently happens is physical. It changes the way you feel about yourself because it's consistent and you're feeling a threat. But some people believe that bullying might be, oh, you know what? I don't like your t-shirt because it's gray. That's not bullying. And we have to empower our teens not to just think that everything, and I say teens, but I'm talking about all kids.
That's a great point. Yeah.
It's so easy to label, oh, that's bullying. And I hear kids all the time, I'm being bullied. Why? Because he said I had big ears. Okay. That's what you have. You got to learn to embrace who you are. And that's where the 3 C's comes in. When we get clarity is about our personality, right? Who am I? Who are you, Lou? Who are you, Teresa? Like, you have to really reflect and think about, who am I? What are my strengths? Like, what makes me unique and different? What are the God-given abilities that I was born with? And I share all the time that I was born with a disability. And that disability became my ability because I learned that to embrace it. So I understand who my personality is. That gave me clarity to not want to be anyone else. And that is, when you understand who you are, a bully can't take that away from you. They can't make you feel any certain way because you're empowered to believe in yourself. That leads into your communication, right? Then you can say to the person, you don't like my shirt? Okay, that's your opinion. I'm okay with that. You don't like my hair? I'm okay with that. I like your hair. I'm okay with who I am. I hope that you're okay with who you are. See, when you understand your internal dialogue, it doesn't matter what someone else from the external tries to say to you. It won't change who you are on the inside. We know that doesn't change anyway. Now, we probably grew up with sticks and stones, may break my bones, right? That was something that my mother and my grandmother taught me.
Yeah.
But the fact that it matters that words do have power, but they only have power if we give them power.
Yeah. And that's
Right?
what I'm hearing from your response, Rahz, that, we can't give others power over us to define who we are. That's what's becoming clear from your responses. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And then that leads to confidence. Once you have clarity, I know who I am. Once you understand the communication, what you say to yourself every day will manifest externally. Then you're going to show up differently. And I use the word confidence, but confidence is different for us all. It's different for you. It's different for me. But confidence for me just means I radiate who I am. I'm good with me. And when we start to teach our children to be good with who they are, especially our Black and brown children, because so often we're not taught to love ourselves. We're not taught to love our skin and our cheeks and whatever our bodily functions and features. And I believe that if we start at the youngest age, as soon as they're born, they will start to embrace that love about themselves, and that confidence will radiate, where it is in the classroom, performance, or in life.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So in your experience, what is the most common misconception parents have about raising challenging teenagers?
I think that it comes back to raising teenagers is hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
have that misconception, what do you think every
Yeah.
situation, every challenge, you're going to have to give it meaning. So when your teenager's a little bit defiant, oh, that's because that's how they're supposed to be. They're teenagers. Or
Yeah.
that's just them being them. That's their
Right.
personality. Now you have to level up your parenting for this
Right.
unique child. Right. So I think that's the biggest challenge. Or if you don't label something and you go in it with an open mind and you say, hey, I don't know what I don't know, but I'm willing to go out and learn, listen to podcasts like this, find the information. I know I had to go, I'm a stepfather of two amazing boys, and I had to learn about being a stepfather because all of the programming in my life came from men who weren't really examples that I wanted to pass on.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to walk straight, as I would like to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing you say we just can't beat them and put them in their rooms and shut the door.
Absolutely. We can't send them outside for a switch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But what I'm hearing you say that's coming across very clearly is that we have to be aware of, what biases we bring to the table as parents so that we're aware enough to sort of challenge ourselves in terms of how we're interacting with teenagers in our environment. And a lot of times we don't take the time to step back and just think, wait a minute, where did that come from? Or is that even the best way for me to approach this particular issue? Because we're so reactive all the time, particularly when we're dealing with teenagers. So we need to be aware of that. Of course, now I say that from the luxury of having a now 39-year-old, but when I was in the throes of it, that was not my attitude. But I'm with you on that. I do know there's a better approach. So talk to us a little bit about what is the difference though between self-esteem and self-image, and how do they impact a teenager's development?
So when we hear those words often, confidence, self-esteem, self-image, and we have to break it down to self-concept. So if we break it down to self-concept, it's really your ideal self, right? Self-ideal. And how do you see yourself? How are we going to get there? As a parent, we need to sit down, look in the mirror with our kids, and have them really become reflective of who they are so that they can develop a strong self-image. That self-image leads to their ideal self. Okay, this is what I want to aspire to be. That's going to boost their self-esteem. So often when we're looking externally at our phones, at Instagram, Snapchat, say all of the different social media platforms, and we see things that we don't look the same, or we're not showing up the same way. And we develop this low self-esteem. I'm not as smart as everyone else.
Right.
And that really manifests and turns out how we show up on the outside. So when we really want to teach kids, you don't want to just use words. You want to give them the definitions and then allow them to define it for themselves so that they can see, how does it pertain to me? What does self-esteem mean to me? Well, for me, it means liking myself. Okay, do I like myself? I like these features. I like this about myself, but I'd like to change that. Okay, so what is a plan we can do to change that if it's something that we can change?
And then, like you said earlier, then if it's not something that you can change, then how do you embrace that? And that's a critical piece of it. How do we embrace the parts that may not be what we would have preferred, but they're the essence of who we are? And we have to be mindful that society hasn't programmed us into thinking that our essence isn't enough. And that's part of the challenge. So yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things I like to share is like you have to affirm the things that are different and know that they're yours. They all make us different, right? I mean, I'm looking at two beautiful women and I can tell that we all are uniquely different. And that's the good thing. So often we want to be, and I understand we're adults now, right? So this conversation's different. But when we were 12, 13, 14, we were looking at those celebrities or those athletes or those models or whoever. And because society was telling us that's what's beautiful. That's what's exciting. That's what success looks like. A lot of us developed a need and a desire for those things. And as parents, we can help craft that mindset for our children to tell them, hey, you know what? You're beautiful. And you should, and I want you to write down the things that you like about yourself. Because if we focus on the things we like, it will elevate that ideal self, right? If we
Yeah.
focus on the things we don't like, we're just going to get more of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Excellent point.
So tell us, why do you believe developing confidence is the most important skill for adolescents to teenager?
I use that word, confidence in developing it, because I can tell you that for a boy who struggled in middle school, who struggled in high school, who was very poor growing up, who didn't have a lot of the things that the other kids have, I didn't have confidence. And
Mm-hmm.
what did it do to me? It broke me. It broke me from the inside. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to raise my hand. I didn't want to even I wanted to hide. And when
Mm-hmm.
you want to hide, you try to almost do anything so that people can't see you. But then what happens is everyone sees you. So if we
Mm.
really want to inspire our young black and brown brothers to just kind of say, hey, and I say brothers, but it's sisters as well. But I work with boys
Mm-hmm.
specifically, and that's my passion, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
know what it felt like. I think
Right.
we have to be, one thing is, hey, you don't have to get A's, but you have to put an effort. And this transition to academics for me, because confidence is when you do something good and you do it over and you do it over. That's how we build it. So as a parent, you have to push your kids to do things that are a little uncomfortable at times.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't push them to do something uncomfortable, they're going to stay in that comfort zone. And that comfort zone is really low. And that's where I stood. That's how I got that 1.62 GPA, barely getting out of high school. Now I breeze through books. Now I'm in college multiple times. It's not because I want to impress anybody. It's just because I learned that, hey, I'm unique, I'm different. I have to learn differently. And that's where my confidence came from. And I know that if I had someone who would have poured a little of this in me as a young adolescent boy, I wouldn't have hit so many walls on my way to adulthood.
Right. So I got another question for you. That book, The Magic of Thinking Big, how many people have you given that book to?
Teresa, I got a feeling you knew the answer to that. I have
No.
given that book. I no, meaning I know that you know I've done it.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
given
yeah,
that book to countless
yeah,
parents, friends.
yeah,
Books became something that was like my mentor when I didn't have anything, I could go to a book. I can go to the
Yeah.
library.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I can get some inspiration. In my darkest hours, I still go to my books. My library is the number one asset I own. You could take
Yeah,
everything away from me, but don't take my books, because that's how I get it all back.
Mm-hmm.
And I've
yeah.
given that book to, I can't imagine, hundreds of people.
Glad to
Wow.
hear it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Lou
Yeah.
has the same, she's over there like musing at what you're saying because she
Yeah.
has the same feeling for books. The
Love
passion
them.
I hear you share about books is the same passion she
Yeah.
has about
Yeah.
books
I
and
tell you.
reading. Yeah,
Well, I tell you, it has been our delight to have you on Earrings Off. Your confidence in your story, your confidence just leaps off the screen, and your story. We admire what you are doing, working with
absolutely.
teens, and thank you so much for coming on Earrings Off. Those are all of the questions that we actually have for you today. But do you have any parting words that you can share with our audience?
Absolutely. I want to thank you both for having me, and wonderful questions. And first and foremost, thank you because your platform allows me to share my story. So I
Mm,
truly am blessed and thankful for that opportunity.
mm,
And my parting words is one of my favorite quotes. It's by Helen Keller. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. I want to inspire your listeners to create a daring story for themselves, but don't just be in the passenger seat. Be the author of your life story by being willing to do as much as you can, try, fail forward, but most importantly, do it with passion. My name is rahzslaughter from the unstoppableteenager.com. You can meet me on social media at rahzslaughter.com as well.
Thank you so very much for joining us here today at Earrings Off, and we wish you all the very best.
Thank you
Take
both.
good care.